We're here at the Y, having ourselves a fajita lunch. And we got the cops called on us actually while we were in the Y. We were having our shower, doing everything, came out, and there's 2 cruisers by there. Apparently they've been called 4 times to our van because it was suspicious. And he said, you shouldn't park on the street in Phoenix because that's suspicious. And then we were like, well, okay, we'll park in the parking lot of the Y, but it was kind of, didn't want to take up a spot when it was going to be crowded in a big vehicle and everything. And there weren't very many spots where the van would fit. And the guy's like, oh, don't park in private property either, because then we'll get called again and we'll have to come. So we can't bring the dog in with us, can't leave him in the car, can't park on this public land, can't park on private land. Sometimes I think these cops just come out and they go, hey, we really need you to harass these guys in the blue van. Oh, okay, cool. What are they doing? Oh, nothing, just harass them. Oh, sounds great. Let's do that. They just show up. They have no idea what we're doing illegal. None of it is. But you just gotta like smile and be like, oh, yes, sir. No, we'll do whatever you say. It's just gonna grates on you after a while. But got a few more things to see in Phoenix before we leave. And I'm excited. I don't let this stuff get to me anymore. I think it's... So the story goes something like this. A guy somewhere in the northern states leaves his wife and child and just disappears for 3 years. Shows up here in Phoenix and starts building this crazy castle. And the house is just built of like the craziest stuff. It's just a mismatch of everything. It's certainly not up to code, although I guess they've changed a lot of stuff since then. But basically, I think it was in the 70s, he died, and then in his will, like the lawyers went out and reached out to his estranged wife and child, and neither of them had heard anything since he disappeared. So they inherited this castle, and his daughter lived in it for quite a few years and was running tours out of it. I think she passed away just a couple of years ago. That's how the story goes anyway. We'll see how much of it's true. Either way, it's a very bizarre looking building.
One of those clippings said something like there's 17 fireplaces but no indoor plumbing.
Yeah. Guy had his priorities, I guess.
When Boy Scully found out he had tuberculosis, he left his wife and daughter in Seattle, Washington, without any knowledge of what had happened to him. He just disappeared one day, and they never saw him again. They didn't even know about the castle until after he had died. Boyce came to Arizona like a lot of people with TB, thinking, well, maybe he might have a few months more to live, and he lived another 15 years. He created 18 rooms, 13 fireplaces, 8,000 square feet, and when he died in 1945, ironically, he died of cancer. Mary Lou and her mother Frances moved into the castle in 1945, and they started doing tours in 1948. Mary Lou continued living here until she passed in 2010, so she lived here physically for 65 years. My name's Rita, and I've been helping Mary Lou do tours for well over 30 years.
So I didn't realize how old this place actually is, and that this guy was building this place way back in the 40s. So I guess like at the time that he was building, a lot of other big architects were building some pretty crazy stuff too. So it's interesting to see how this is kind of like an act of rebellion against a lot of big architectural thinkers, like for instance Frank Lloyd Wright, which was referenced a few times in the building. Well, he became like a national icon right around the same time as this is being built, so you could see the conflict between a very polished, albeit maniacal, crazy architect like Frank Lloyd Wright, and what we see here. It's just night and day. But it's also interesting now that we're talking about like tiny houses and earth ships and all these other alternative housing lifestyles, how this is kind of like a forerunner to all that. This is an act of rebellion to housing codes and to society on a whole. It's very interesting to see how the old school, the old generation maybe did a lot of the stuff that we're now talking about and doing today. This is Casa Grande. It's a pre-colonial structure built about 700 years ago. It is absolutely massive compared to almost everything else we have in this area and north of here. This is by far the biggest. So these are the domes of Casa Grande. That's all I could find online. It looks like they were a failed, botched experiment. I do know that they were shut down because of how unsafe structurally they are. And I do know that now that they're rented out as music studios for performing artists because of the, frankly, bizarre acoustics inside of them. But yeah, it's definitely private property. We're definitely trespassing, but it's really cool.
I'll carry the world on my shoulders. Take hold of me, I wish you would. I'll carry you up on my shoulders. Carry the world.